The crash of a spilled coffee cup silenced the entire restaurant. "Are you serious right now?" A young woman's voice sliced through the air. All heads turned toward a corner table where a rich-looking white woman, maybe in her early 30s, stood glaring at an elderly black waitress whose trembling hands were still holding the coffee pot. "You ruined my dress. Do you have any idea how much this costs?" the woman hissed. I'm so sorry. "Ma'am," the waitress stammered softly, trying to dab this spill with a napkin. Her name tag read Martha. Her hands shook not from guilt, but from arthritis she'd been hiding all day. The woman snatched her bag off the table, voice sharp. "Maybe if you were younger or smarter, you wouldn't mess up simple things." At the next table, a white man in a gray suit slowly set down his fork, watching in silence. His name was Charles Avery, billionaire, philanthropist, and the owner of the restaurant. Martha froze, cheeks burning, as the customers whispered. She'd worked here 15 years, never once raised her voice. "It's all right, ma'am," she whispered. "I'll pay for the cleaning. Please sit. I'll bring another." The woman laughed, sharp and cruel. "Oh, don't bother. Someone like you couldn't afford the button on this dress." The room fell quiet. Even the music had stopped. At the nearby table, Charles folded his napkin neatly. His assistant leaned close and whispered, "Should we step in?" He shook his head. "Not yet." Martha's eyes glistened. "Ma'am, I didn't mean..." The young woman cut her off. "You people never do." That's when Charles stood. His chair slid back against the marble floor with a quiet scrape. He walked toward them calmly, his silver cufflinks catching the light. The rude woman noticed him immediately and her tone changed. "Oh my God, you're Charles Avery. I have read about you in Forbes," she gushed, instantly smiling. He nodded slightly. "And you are?" Angela Green. Her smile was bright, practiced. "It's such an honor to meet you, sir. I was just having an unfortunate experience with your staff." She gestured dismissively toward Martha. Charles looked at the coffee stain, then at the elderly woman's shaking hands. "I see," he said quietly. "And how did my employee handle it?" "She's incompetent," Angela replied quickly. "Old, clumsy. She needs to be fired before she ruins this place." The restaurant had gone still again. Every waiter, every diner, seemed to hold their breath. Martha stood with her head bowed, silent. Charles's expression didn't change, but his voice dropped low, steady, and cold. "Do you know how much coffee that woman has poured in this room, Ms. Green?" Angela blinked. "Excuse me?" "She's been here longer than the chandeliers," he said. "She trained half the staff. She's the reason you're getting served with grace instead of arrogance." Angela laughed nervously. "I didn't mean anything personal." Charles stepped closer, his eyes fixed on her. "You did, and that's what makes it worse." The silence felt heavy. Martha looked up, startled, as he turned to her and said gently, "Martha, could you please sit for a moment?" She hesitated. "Sir, I should clean this. I insist." He guided her to a chair nearby, then turned back to Angela. "You said her mistake cost you something." "Yes, my dress." He looked at her with a faint smile. "Then I'll replace it. But first, let's make this fair." He took a deep breath and said clearly, "For every ounce of that coffee, I'll donate $10,000 to the retirement fund in Martha's name." The restaurant gasped. Angela's smile vanished. You're joking," she stammered. "I never joke about dignity," Charles said. Angela's face turned red. "You can't be serious." She made a mistake. "Yes," he said, "but you made a choice." The line hung in the air like thunder. Martha stared at the floor, tears threatening to fall. No one had ever defended her like that, not once in 15 years. Charles continued calmly. "Do you know why Martha works here, Ms. Green?" Angela folded her arms, defensive. "I don't see how that matters." "It matters," he said softly, "because you judged her without knowing her story." He turned toward the room, his voice quiet but commanding. "Martha lost her husband 12 years ago. She could have retired, but instead, she took double shifts to pay for her grandson's surgery. He's alive today because of her." Martha's lips parted, shocked. She hadn't known anyone remembered. Angela's eyes darted around as people whispered, I didn't know." "No," Charles said. "You didn't care to." Angela lowered her gaze, shame creeping in. Charles leaned slightly closer. "We often think money measures worth, but sometimes, the richest person in the room is the one who still gives when they have nothing left." The room was still, heavy with emotion. Even the waiters stood frozen, listening. Charles turned to Martha again. "You've given this place its heart. You remind us every day that service isn't service, grace." Martha swallowed hard. Her voice trembled. "Thank you, Mr. Avery." He smiled warmly. "No, Martha, thank you." Then, turning back to Angela, he said quietly, "You're welcome to stay for lunch, Ms. Green, but I'd suggest ordering a slice of humility. It's free." Laughter broke the tension softly. respectfully. Angela's face turned pale. She mumbled something and hurried toward the door, heels clicking across the marble floor. As the door closed behind her, the entire restaurant began to clap, first softly, then louder. Martha wiped her eyes, overwhelmed. After the crowd settled, Charles sat across from her. "Take the rest of the day off," he said gently. "I can't," Martha replied, shaking her head. "I still have tables." He smiled. "You've served enough today. Let us serve you for once." Later that afternoon, Martha walked home with a small envelope in her apron pocket. Inside was a handwritten note from Charles. "You reminded us that grace doesn't wear a uniform. It lives in those who serve with kindness. Enjoy your evening. Martha, your place here is forever secure." Her eyes filled again as she looked at the enclosed check, 3 months' pay. But it wasn't the money that mattered. It was the respect. At the same time, Angela sat alone in her car outside the restaurant, replaying what had happened. For the first time in a long while, she felt small, not because someone shamed her, but because someone had shown her what real decency looked like. Martha had walked away with dignity. Charles had reminded everyone that character, not status, defines worth. And Angela would never forget the lesson she learned that day. Moral: hate divides, but kindness heals. The way we treat others says far more about us than it ever will about them.